Hello everyone, I am the Appalachian Dread and I am here to help you today. I know you use this video to fall asleep, so before that like the video and subscribe to the channel. Also, where are you from and what time are you watching? Now get comfortable and relax. The house that listens in the rain. Rain follows you to the doorstep, soft and persistent. The house feels aware of your presence before you enter. Walls absorb sound the way skin absorbs warmth. Somewhere inside, something has been waiting quietly. Rain follows you to the doorstep, soft and persistent, a thin veil of sound trailing each step. You pause beneath the eaves and listen as droplets gather courage, then fall. The night feels close, folded inward, holding its breath. When you touch the door, the wood is cool and familiar, as if it remembers hands before yours. You sense attention without sight, a quiet awareness warming the air. The rain does not hurry. It waits with you, patient, rhythmic, inviting stillness before you enter inside, where silence settles gently and welcomes rest without demand or expectation. Tonight for you alone. Inside, the house receives you without sound, a soft closing of space around your presence. Floors feel steady, walls close enough to hear you breathe. The rain changes tone as it meets shelter, becoming rounder, kinder. You stand still, allowing your senses to widen. The house seems to listen, not to footsteps, but to intention. Every creak feels measured, respectful. You feel seen without being watched. Warmth spreads slowly, like lamplight remembered, and the night settles deeper. Content to wait with patience that calms your thoughts and slows your pulse further now until breathing becomes effortless again for you here. You move deeper, guided by instinct rather than sight, and the rain follows at a distance. Rooms open quietly, revealing nothing urgent. The house holds its history gently, like a book left open but unread. You sense layers of listening, old and kind. The air feels thicker near corners, softer near doorways. Each step feels acknowledged. The sound of rain threads through everything, stitching inside to outside, until you cannot tell where shelter ends and night begins. The feeling remains calming and slow, inviting rest without questions as you linger quietly, listening longer than intended in this place now together. You choose a room and settle, letting weight return to your limbs. The house adjusts, answering with a soft sigh of beams and boards. Rain paints the windows with motion, blurring reflections into comfort. You breathe slowly and the space breathes back. Listening becomes shared. The walls absorb sound the way skin absorbs warmth, holding it gently. You feel no urge to explore. Everything you need is already here, arranged by patience and rain. The night approves softly, settling closer as minutes loosen their grip and time becomes generous and kind again. Tonight for your resting heart and mind now. The house listens more closely as you grow still. Not to thoughts, but to the spaces between them. Rain keeps a steady watch, translating the night into rhythm. You sense a presence without shape and attention that does not intrude. It feels ancient and domestic at once. The floor holds you. The ceiling keeps its distance. You rest inside a careful balance, where nothing approaches and nothing leaves, and the listening continues patiently like a tide that knows exactly when to pause. Your breathing settles deeper, steady, unremarkable, safe while the night keeps quiet company nearby for you now here. Listening becomes a gentle habit. The rain teaches patience by repeating itself without insistence. You feel the house responding in small ways, a board easing, a wall settling. These sounds are not messages, only acknowledgments. The night feels aware of your comfort and protects it. You sense waiting, not for you to act, but for you to rest fully. The space remains open and kind, shaped by rain and time. Minutes blur, stretching softly, losing edges and expectations. You feel the calm deepen, steady and unbroken as listening replaces thought and effort entirely for the night now with you present. The rain draws patterns you do not follow, and the house does not mind. Awareness drifts like mist, never settling too long. You feel accompanied without company, supported without touch. The listening deepens into something shared. You imagine the house leaning closer, curious but restrained. Nothing asks your name, nothing needs it. The night holds space carefully, as though honoring an agreement made long ago, renewed quietly with every storm. You relax further, trusting the quiet to remain gentle. The rain answers softly, continuing its patient language around you, within you, everywhere tonight without pressure or demand. Now for rest. Time loosens completely. You could not say how long you have been here listening. The rain becomes a texture rather than a sound. The house feels like a boundary that breathes. You feel safe enough to let thoughts pass without keeping them. Each moment arrives, then leaves, leaving warmth behind. The listening does not end, it simply softens, becoming part of sleep's approach. Your body grows heavier, anchored by comfort and quiet. The night watches gently, unseen, content to remain. Rain continues its faithful pattern, stitching calm into darkness until sleep reaches for you slowly now and holds you there. You drift nearer to rest, and the house keeps listening without effort. Sounds fade in importance, leaving only rhythm. The rain's persistence becomes reassurance. You sense the walls holding warmth like memory. Nothing changes suddenly. The night respects your pace. You feel the doorway of sleep open, wide and unguarded, and the listening steps back slightly, allowing you to pass without noticing. Your breathing deepens, smooth and even, guiding the way. The rain remains, faithful and kind as you go. The house holds quiet behind you, unchanged and calm. Sleep waits patiently, close enough now to welcome you fully inside. The rain fades into background awareness, still present, never gone. You feel the listening become memory, a gentle echo. The house remains, but you no longer measure it. Rest carries you forward. The night closes nothing, it only softens edges. You feel gratitude without words. Sleep surrounds you, deep and even, and the rain keeps watch from afar, steady and faithful. Your thoughts slow to warmth and dark comfort. Listening becomes rest, and rest becomes home. The night remains nearby, content unseen, unhurried. Rain continues softly, counting breaths until morning stays distant while you sleep deeply now and safely here. Dreams gather quietly, shaped by listening and rain. They arrive without images at first, only feelings. You float, unbothered, supported by rhythm. The house fades to an idea, the night to a presence. Nothing startles you. The calm is complete. You sense protection without knowing its source. Sleep deepens, steady and generous, and the rain remains a gentle guardian beyond thought. Your breathing anchors the dream, slow and kind. The listening rests now, satisfied, folded into quiet. You feel carried, protected, and allowed to drift. Rain whispers softly, then grows indistinct again as sleep claims you fully now and completely. The house continues listening even as you sleep, though you no longer notice. This feels reassuring. The rain keeps its promise to stay gentle. Nothing calls you back. The night holds its shape. You rest within a shared quiet, where awareness thins but safety remains. Dreams smooth their edges. Sleep settles like a blanket, warm and dependable. Time moves somewhere else, leaving you untouched. The rain becomes a memory of sound, still comforting. You feel no need to wake or watch. The night keeps vigil, content and quiet. Sleep deepens steadily, carrying you onward without interruption now or concern anywhere. You remain asleep, and the rain continues its watch. Listening has become background, like a heartbeat you trust. The house holds warmth and shadow without effort. The night does not change its mind. You are safe inside a long moment. Dreams pass softly, leaving no trace. Sleep stays with you, patient and unbroken. The calm feels earned, shared, and quietly complete. Rain marks time gently, counting nothing important. Your breathing remains slow, even, and reassuring. The house listens without needing to answer. Night and sleep hold steady together. Nothing disturbs this gentle balance now, for you here tonight alone safely. Morning remains far away, irrelevant. The rain still falls somewhere, faithful. The house keeps its quiet promise. You sleep, held by listening that no longer needs ears. The night rests too, satisfied. When you breathe, the world breathes gently back. Nothing ends. Nothing begins. Rest continues, smooth and deep, as the rain and house remain exactly as they are. The calm holds steady, unremarkable, generous, and kind. You drift with a thought, without effort, without need. Listening has done its work and now sleeps. Rain whispers softly, keeping watch beyond dreams. The night stays, warm and patient, forever near with you. As the rain continues its quiet vigil, you sense that the house will remember this listening, ready to lean closer again when another night asks you to return. Footsteps above you during the storm. Rain thickens, blurring the edges of time. Footsteps move slowly above, careful and patient. You remain still, listening instead of fearing. The ceiling keeps its secrets. The storm grows denser, not louder, but closer, as though the rain has leaned its weight against the house. You lie beneath it all, wrapped in blankets, listening as water traces soft paths along the roof. The sound blurs the edges of time, smoothing moments together until minutes feel wide and slow. Your breathing settles naturally, guided by the steady rhythm above you. At first, the sound blends with the rain. You almost miss it, a subtle difference in texture, a pause where there should be none. The rain continues faithfully, but something else rests beneath it now. You do not move. You listen more carefully, allowing the sound to reveal itself without pressure. Footsteps. They are slow and deliberate, moving somewhere above you. Not hurried, not heavy. Each step lands with care, as though whoever walks there understands the fragility of the night. You feel no jolt of alarm. Your body remains calm, curious rather than tense. The ceiling absorbs the sound gently. It does not echo or creak in protest. It simply holds the footsteps, passing them down to you in softened form. You imagine the space above, dim and quiet, shaped by shadows and rainlight. The image feels distant, safe. The footsteps pause. Rain fills the gap immediately, smoothing the silence. You sense the pause is intentional, a moment of listening rather than stopping. Whoever walks above seems aware of the storm, aware of the quiet beneath. You remain still. There is no urge to rise, no pull to look. The listening feels complete where you are. The bed supports you, warm and steady. The footsteps resume, moving again with the same careful rhythm. They do not circle. They follow a path, straight and unhurried, as if retracing something familiar. You sense no uncertainty in their movement. This brings comfort. Wandering would feel different. This feels purposeful, though not urgent. The rain thickens further. It presses against the roof, encouraging the sound to deepen. The footsteps remain distinct, never lost, never overwhelming. They move in harmony with the storm, stepping between heavier drops, choosing moments of quiet. You feel watched without being observed. The sensation is gentle, like awareness passing through the house rather than resting on you. The footsteps do not approach your position directly. They remain above, respectful of distance. Your breathing slows. With each exhale, the sound feels less intrusive, more like part of the night structure. You imagine the house is layered, each level listening to the one below it. The footsteps belong to the upper layer, just as you belong to this one. The ceiling keeps its secrets. It does not reveal who walks there or why. It holds the sound carefully, filtering it into something safe. You trust this barrier. It feels solid, dependable. The footsteps stop again. Rain rushes to fill the space, steady and reassuring. The pause stretches, unbroken. You sense a tension in it, not directed at you, but shared with the storm. The night feels full, balanced. Then the footsteps continue. They move slower now, as though the path has narrowed. You feel no increase in tension. The pace remains calm, deliberate. Each step lands, then lifts, leaving no echo behind. You wonder briefly if the footsteps belong to the house itself. The thought feels right. Houses move in storms. They adjust, respond, settle. Perhaps this sound is simply the structure remembering how to stand. The idea brings ease rather than doubt. The rain softens slightly. With it, the footsteps become lighter, though still present. They feel farther away, not in distance, but in importance. You sense them moving toward an edge, preparing to fade. You feel no loss. The sound has shared its presence without demanding reaction. This feels like a courtesy, an acknowledgement of the quiet you have kept. The night seems to approve. The footsteps pause one final time. The silence that follows feels complete, unbroken. Rain continues, steady and kind. You realize you have not moved at all. Your body remains relaxed, supported. The footsteps do not return. Or perhaps they do, but softer than before, indistinguishable from rain and settling wood. The difference no longer matters. The sound has become part of the house again. You drift closer to sleep. The storm continues above, but the ceiling keeps its secrets. Whatever move there has done so gently, without disturbance. You trust it to remain distant. Your thoughts loosen, images blur, edges soften. The memory of footsteps fades into the rhythm of rain. You feel safe enough to let go completely. Sleep gathers. The night remains attentive, calm. Rain watches over everything, including the spaces above you. You sink deeper, carried by sound and stillness together. As the storm continues overhead, you sense that the house still listens upward as well as down, quietly aware of every level where the night may choose to move next. A door that opens only after midnight. Rain softens the silence as the clock passes 12. A door shifts open without sound or effort. You feel drawn, not forced. Some places open only when you are calm enough. Midnight arrives without ceremony, slipping into the house the way rain slips into soil. You do not look at the clock, yet you know the hour has changed. The air feels different now, looser and more forgiving, as though time has stepped aside. Rain continues outside, softened and steady, brushing the walls with quiet persistence. You remain still, breathing slowly, sensing the night settle into its deeper rhythm. The house feels wider. Spaces seem to stretch gently, releasing their edges. Hallways feel longer, ceilings higher. Nothing moves, yet everything feels slightly rearranged. You sense attention without direction and awareness that drifts rather than fixes. The rain keeps count of nothing important, marking the moment only by sound. That is when you notice the door. It is not new, and yet you cannot remember seeing it before. It rests at the end of a hallway you have already walked, blending into shadow as though it has always known how to wait. The door stands closed at first, unremarkable, patient. You feel no urgency toward it, only awareness. You do not rise. Instead, your senses lean toward the hallway, stretching softly. The rain hushes slightly, making space for quieter things. You feel calm enough now to notice what the night offers without question. The door shifts. There is no sound, no creak or protest. It opens with a gentleness that feels practiced, moving only as far as it needs to. The motion is smooth, unforced, as though the door has been waiting for the right kind of stillness rather than the right moment. You feel drawn, not pulled, not summoned. The feeling is similar to noticing a path and realizing you have already decided to follow it. The door does not glow or beckon. It simply remains open, allowing the darkness beyond it to breathe. Rain continues outside. Its sound reaches the hallway faintly, carried along the walls. The open door does not interrupt this rhythm. Instead, it seems to accept it, letting the sound pass through as though it belongs. You remain where you are. There is no need to approach physically. The night does not require movement, only awareness. You imagine the space beyond the door, not clearly, but comfortably. The image forms without effort, like a thought you did not mean to think. The space feels calm. You sense no danger in it, no urgency. It feels removed from time, sheltered from weather. A place that does not hurry or demand. The door remains open, content to wait. You notice how your breathing has slowed. Each inhale feels deeper, each exhale longer. The door responds by staying exactly where it is, unchanged. You realize this opening depends on your calm. The more relaxed you become, the more present the space beyond feels. The rain softens further. Outside, the storm seems to listen as well, lowering its voice. The house holds steady, walls attentive. You sense that this door does not open often. It requires a certain quiet, a balance that cannot be forced. You feel ready without knowing why. The door does not widen. It does not close. It holds its position, respectful. You understand, without words, that crossing is not required. Recognition is enough. The hallway feels warmer now. Not in temperature, but in tone. The darkness beyond the door feels inviting in its neutrality. It promises nothing and withholds nothing. This honesty feels comforting. You sense that others may have noticed this door before. Not recently, perhaps, but long ago. The house remembers moments like this, storing them gently. The rain seems to carry echoes of such nights, when calm allowed hidden spaces to reveal themselves briefly. You let your thoughts drift. The door remains open, unaffected. You sense no impatience from it. Time feels suspended here, stretched thin and translucent. The rain resumes its fuller rhythm. The sound wraps around the house again, reclaiming its place. The door does not react. It stays open, accepting the noise without retreating. You feel no fear. The space beyond does not threaten. It feels like a room that exists only in stillness, accessible only when the mind softens its grip. You sense that entering it would feel like sleep feels, a surrender rather than a step. You relax further. Your body sinks into the surface beneath you. The hallway feels farther away now, yet the door remains present in awareness. Distance no longer matters. The door begins to close, not suddenly, not completely. It eases back with the same care it used to open. The movement feels considerate, as though it knows you have seen enough for now. You feel no disappointment. The door closes without sound, blending back into the wall. The hallway returns to its familiar shape. The space beyond withdraws gently, leaving no trace behind. The rain continues. Midnight stretches onward, unremarkable again. The house settles satisfied. You sense that the door will remain where it is, waiting patiently for another moment of calm. You drift closer to sleep. The image of the door fades into warmth rather than memory. Your breathing deepens. The night resumes its quiet watch. As sleep draws nearer and the hallway grows ordinary again, you sense that the house holds other thresholds like this one, waiting silently for the next moment when you are calm enough to notice. The bedroom where no one wakes alone. Rain hums steadily outside the window. The bed feels warm, already used. Breathing overlaps yours for just a moment. Sleep does not belong to you alone here. The rain hums steadily outside the window, a low, continuous sound that feels less like weather and more like reassurance. You lie down slowly, allowing the bed to receive you without resistance. The mattress yields with familiarity, as though it has done this many times before and remembers exactly how. The air feels calm, slightly warm, carrying the faint impression of rest that has already taken place here. You settle into stillness. The room does not change suddenly, yet something feels different once you stop moving. The rain continues its steady rhythm, and the walls hold the sound gently. You breathe in, then out, noticing how easily your breath slows. The bed feels warm beneath you, not freshly warmed, but evenly so, as if it has retained comfort rather than heat. You sense that you are not the first to sleep here. This thought arrives without fear, without surprise. It feels obvious in a quiet way. The bed holds an impression of weight that is not entirely yours. It does not press or intrude. It simply exists. Shared, you imagine layers of rest settling into the fabric over time, each one leaving behind a trace of calm. The rain hums on. Outside, The night continues without concern, but inside the room listens closely. You feel the mattress respond to your breathing, adjusting gently. The sensation brings comfort. You are supported fully, without effort. For a moment, your breathing overlaps with something else. It is subtle, almost imagined. A second rhythm aligns briefly with your own, then fades. You do not panic. The overlap feels gentle, like two waves meeting before separating again. The moment passes quickly, leaving warmth behind. You remain calm. The air does not feel crowded. The presence, if it was one, does not linger. It feels like an echo of rest rather than a visitor. The bedroom feels aware of sleep, practiced in it. You sense that waking is not the focus here. Rest is. The bed feels settled. You shift slightly, and the mattress adjusts immediately, smoothing the movement. The warmth remains constant. You feel no need to question it. The night has taught you that some things are understood rather than explained. Rain continues its soft humming. It weaves itself into the room, stitching sound into comfort. You feel your thoughts slow, each one arriving softer than the last. The idea of being alone feels less important now. The room feels complete, whole. You sense that sleep has passed through here many times. Not hurried, not disturbed. The bedroom has learned how to hold it gently. It knows how to keep breathing even, how to soften dreams before they form. You feel this knowledge surrounding you, protective rather than possessive. Your breathing deepens. The memory of overlapping breath does not return, but the comfort it left behind remains. You feel watched over without being observed. The sensation is quiet, steady, and warm. The rain outside grows slightly heavier. Inside, nothing changes. The room remains calm, balanced. You feel your body growing heavier, sinking into the bed's familiarity. Sleep approaches without urgency. You do not feel alone. The feeling is not companionship exactly, but continuity. The sense that rest is shared across time. That the bed remembers how to hold someone gently, regardless of who they are. This brings peace rather than unease. Your thoughts soften further. The room feels darker now, though nothing has changed. The darkness feels intentional, shaped for rest. The rain hums, steady and kind. You drift closer to sleep. The bed holds you securely. The warmth remains even. You sense that waking here is rare, that sleep lingers longer than usual. This does not frighten you. It comforts you. Your breathing slows completely. Sleep gathers around you, deep and unbroken. The memory of overlapping breath fades into background warmth. The rain continues to hum, faithful and distant. You surrender to rest. As sleep deepens and the rain keeps its quiet watch, you sense that the room remembers how to hold you now, preparing gently for the moment when you will drift even further from waking. Chapter 6. Whispers traveling through old walls. Rain slides down the walls like quiet fingers. Whispers move with it, soft and unhurried. You cannot tell where they begin. The house speaks without a voice. Rain slides down the walls outside, slow and deliberate, tracing paths the house has known for years. Inside, the sound changes as it meets brick and wood, becoming softer, more thoughtful. You lie still, wrapped in warmth, listening as the night rearranges itself around you. The rain no longer feels distant. It feels close, pressed gently against the structure, as if trying to remember something. The whispers arrive without warning. They do not begin as sound, but as sensation. A faint awareness drifts through the room, subtle enough that you wonder if it belongs to your thoughts. You remain calm, breathing evenly, allowing the feeling to settle. The rain continues its steady movement, and the whispers seem to travel with it, sliding along the walls like quiet companions. You listen without focusing. The whispers do not form words. They move as impressions, brushing past your awareness and dissolving before you can follow them. You sense them more clearly near the walls, as though the structure itself is guiding them. The house feels older in this moment, not in age, but in patience. Rain taps softly. With each tap, the whispers shift, adjusting their rhythm. They do not repeat. They do not insist. They feel content to pass through, leaving no mark behind. You feel no fear. The sound carries no urgency, no demand for attention. You realize the whispers belong to the walls, not trapped inside them, not emerging from them, but moving through them. The house feels porous, open to sound and memory. You imagine the walls absorbing rain, holding it briefly, then letting it go. The whispers follow the same path. Your breathing slows further. As you relax, the whispers become easier to sense. They do not grow louder. They grow closer, as if responding to your stillness. You feel them pass behind you, along the edges of the room, never crossing the open space. This restraint feels intentional. The house speaks without a voice. It communicates through movement, through the way sound travels and fades. You sense understanding without language. The whispers feel like remnants of conversations that never needed words, moments of awareness shared quietly. The rain deepens slightly. With it, the whispers gather more clearly, though still without form. You sense multiple layers, overlapping gently, like several breaths taken at different times. None of them linger long enough to become distinct. You remain calm. Your body feels heavy, supported. The bed beneath you does not shift. The room holds steady. The whispers do not intrude into your thoughts. They pass through the space around you, respectful of your rest. You notice that the whispers never cross the center of the room. They stay close to the walls, moving along familiar paths. This brings comfort. The open space remains yours undisturbed. The house seems careful about boundaries. Rain continues to slide. Its sound becomes a constant guide, showing the whispers where to go. You imagine them traveling downward, floor to floor, guided by gravity and time. They feel old, but not aged. Familiar, but not personal. You feel curiosity rather than concern. The whispers do not belong to you, yet they do not exclude you. They pass by as if acknowledging your presence without pausing. This neutrality feels safe. The night remains still. No sudden noises break the rhythm. The whispers and rain maintain a gentle balance. You feel the house breathing around you, expanding and contracting subtly with temperature and sound. Your thoughts soften. You no longer try to identify the whispers. You accept them as part of the night's texture. The house feels alive in a quiet way, attentive but not demanding. The rain eases slightly. The whispers respond by thinning, becoming more diffuse. They do not disappear completely. They simply spread out, less concentrated, more ambient. You sense the house settling. The walls seem satisfied, having passed along whatever they needed to release. The room feels lighter now, though nothing has moved. You drift closer to sleep. The whispers fade further into background sensation. You are aware of them only as absence, a quiet left behind. The rain continues. Its sound remains steady, faithful. The house grows quieter, content. You rest. As the whispers dissolve back into the walls, you sense that the house has more to say someday, waiting patiently for the next night when you are quiet enough to hear it again. Chapter 6. Whispers traveling through old walls. Rain slides down the walls like quiet fingers. Whispers move with it, soft and unhurried. You cannot tell where they begin. The house speaks without a voice. Rain slides down the walls outside, slow and deliberate, tracing paths the house has known for years. Inside, the sound changes as it meets brick and wood, becoming softer, more thoughtful. You lie still, wrapped in warmth, listening as the night rearranges itself around you. The rain no longer feels distant. It feels close, pressed gently against the structure, as if trying to remember something. The whispers arrive without warning. They do not begin as sound, but as sensation. A faint awareness drifts through the room, subtle enough that you wonder if it belongs to your thoughts. You remain calm, breathing evenly, allowing the feeling to settle. The rain continues its steady movement, and the whispers seem to travel with it, sliding along the walls like quiet companions. You listen without focusing. The whispers do not form words. They move as impressions, brushing past your awareness and dissolving before you can follow them. You sense them more clearly near the walls, as though the structure itself is guiding them. The house feels older in this moment, not in age, but in patience. Rain taps softly. With each tap, the whispers shift, adjusting their rhythm. They do not repeat. They do not insist. They feel content to pass through, leaving no mark behind. You feel no fear. The sound carries no urgency, no demand for attention. You realize the whispers belong to the walls. Not trapped inside them, not emerging from them, but moving through them. The house feels porous, open to sound and memory. You imagine the walls absorbing rain, holding it briefly, then letting it go. The whispers follow the same path. Your breathing slows further. As you relax, the whispers become easier to sense. They do not grow louder. They grow closer, as if responding to your stillness. You feel them pass behind you along the edges of the room, never crossing the open space. This restraint feels intentional. The house speaks without a voice. It communicates through movement, through the way sound travels and fades. You sense understanding without language. The whispers feel like remnants of conversations that never needed words, moments of awareness shared quietly. The rain deepens slightly. With it, the whispers gather more clearly, though still without form. You sense multiple layers, overlapping gently, like several breaths taken at different times. None of them linger long enough to become distinct. You remain calm, your body feels heavy, supported. The bed beneath you does not shift, the room holds steady. The whispers do not intrude into your thoughts. They pass through the space around you, respectful of your rest. You notice that the whispers never cross the center of the room. They stay close to the walls, moving along familiar paths. This brings comfort. The open space remains yours undisturbed. The house seems careful about boundaries. Rain continues to slide. Its sound becomes a constant guide, showing the whispers where to go. You imagine them traveling downward, floor to floor, guided by gravity and time. They feel old, but not aged. Familiar, but not personal. You feel curiosity rather than concern. The whispers do not belong to you, yet they do not exclude you. They pass by as if acknowledging your presence without pausing. This neutrality feels safe. The night remains still. No sudden noises break the rhythm. The whispers and rain maintain a gentle balance. You feel the house breathing around you, expanding and contracting subtly with temperature and sound. Your thoughts soften. You no longer try to identify the whispers. You accept them as part of the night's texture. The house feels alive in a quiet way, attentive but not demanding. The rain eases slightly. The whispers respond by thinning, becoming more diffuse. They do not disappear completely. They simply spread out, less concentrated, more ambient. You sense the house settling. The walls seem satisfied, having passed along whatever they needed to release. The room feels lighter now, though nothing has moved. You drift closer to sleep. The whispers fade further into background sensation. You are aware of them only as absence, a quiet left behind. The rain continues. Its sound remains steady, faithful. The house grows quieter, content. You rest. As the whispers dissolve back into the walls, you sense that the house has more to say someday, waiting patiently for the next night, when you are quiet enough to hear it again. Chapter 7. The stairs that feel longer at night. Rain echoes faintly as you climb each step. The stairs stretch, bending time gently. Every pause feels intentional. Something waits at the top, breathing slowly. The rain echoes faintly as you place your foot on the first step, a sound that seems to come from everywhere at once. The house is quiet in a way that feels deliberate, as if it has chosen this moment to listen. You hold the railing lightly, feeling the smoothness worn there by countless hands. The stairwell rises ahead of you, dim and patient, offering no urgency, only invitation. You take another step. The sound of rain shifts, stretching thinner as it reaches you through walls and windows. Each step feels slightly farther apart than it should, as though the space between them has grown while you were not looking. You do not feel tired. You feel attentive. Your breathing remains slow, steady, matched to the rhythm of ascent. The stairs feel longer at night, not steeper, not heavier, simply extended, like a thought that refuses to end quickly. You pause halfway up, not because you must, but because the pause feels natural. The air here feels different, cooler and more aware. You sense that stopping is part of the movement, not an interruption of it. Rain continues outside. Its sound filters down the stairwell, softened by distance. The echoes linger just long enough to be noticed, then fade. You feel time stretch with them, thinning into something flexible. The house does not rush you. It seems to prefer this slower pace. You climb another step. The top of the stairs remains out of reach, not because it is far, but because it feels patient. You sense something waiting there, not standing, not watching, simply existing. The idea does not frighten you. It settles calmly, like a certainty you have always known. Your foot meets the next step. The wood responds with a faint sound, not a creak, but an acknowledgement. The stair accepts your weight and releases it again. You feel supported, guided. The railing remains steady beneath your hand, cool and reassuring. You pause again. Each pause feels intentional, placed exactly where it belongs. You realize that if you hurried, the stairs might feel ordinary. At this pace, they reveal themselves. The night seems to encourage this understanding, holding the air still. The rain grows softer. Its rhythm becomes less distinct, more like a background hum. The stairwell holds this sound carefully, letting it drift upward with you. You sense the house breathing slowly, matching your movement. You climb higher. The steps continue without complaint, but they do not shorten. Each one feels complete, self-contained. You experience them individually rather than as a series. This slows your thoughts, smooths their edges. You feel no fear. The lengthening of the stairs does not trap you. It gives you time. You sense that whatever waits above does not mind how long you take. The waiting feels calm, unpressured. Your breathing deepens. With each inhale, the space around you feels slightly larger. With each exhale, it settles again. The stairs respond by remaining exactly as they are, neither changing nor resisting. You reach another landing. It feels familiar, though you cannot recall passing it before. The rain's echo shifts again, softer now, as though the night is listening more closely. You stand still, letting the moment hold you. Something breathes at the top, not audibly, not distinctly, but as a presence you can feel rather than hear. The breathing is slow, patient, unconcerned with your progress. You feel no urge to call out. Silence feels appropriate here. You continue upward. The steps seem to stretch again, adding space where there was none. This bending of distance feels gentle, almost kind. You are given more time to remain calm, more room to listen. The stairwell grows darker, not because light fades, but because focus softens. You see less detail and feel more awareness. The rain becomes a distant texture, no longer separate from the night itself. You pause once more. The pause feels welcomed. The house seems to approve, settling quietly around you. You sense that these stairs remember being climbed slowly, that they prefer it this way. You climb the final steps. Or perhaps you do not know they are final. The top arrives without announcement, revealed only when you are ready. The breathing you sensed remains steady, neither closer nor farther away. You stop. The stairs end beneath your feet. The space ahead feels open, calm, waiting. You feel no need to step forward yet. The journey up has been enough. Rain continues its quiet fall. The stairs remain behind you, stretched but satisfied. You feel rested rather than weary. The night feels attentive, patient. You stand in stillness. As you rest at the top and the rain continues below, you sense that the house has other passages like this one, waiting to unfold when the night grows quiet enough again. A window that reflects someone else. Rain turns the glass into a moving mirror. A figure appears where you expect yourself. You do not feel threatened, only observed. The reflection lingers after you turn away. Rain presses softly against the window, smoothing the night into gentle motion. You stand close enough to feel the faint cooling from the glass, though you do not touch it yet. Outside, darkness shifts and ripples as water slides downward, bending distant shapes into something abstract and calm. The window no longer feels like a boundary. It feels like a surface that listens. You breathe slowly. Your reflection should appear easily, familiar and immediate, but the rain disrupts it. The glass becomes a moving mirror, restless but unhurried. Shapes stretch and fold into one another, dissolving the edges of your expectation. You remain still, allowing the moment to unfold without demand. The reflection forms gradually. At first, it is only suggestion, a darker shape where your outline should be. You tell yourself it is the rain, the angle, the low light. The explanation settles easily, smoothing the thought. Still, the shape remains, gathering clarity without sharpness. You do not feel alarm. The presence in the glass does not rush to define itself. It does not press closer. It simply occupies the space where you expect yourself to be. The feeling that comes with this realization is not fear, but curiosity softened by calm. Rain continues to slide downward. Each droplet distorts the reflection further, yet the shape holds. You sense that the glass is showing you something else, something not meant to replace you, only to be seen. You remain quiet, listening with your eyes. The figure feels familiar in an unfamiliar way. It does not resemble you closely enough to confuse, yet it carries a sense of recognition. You feel as though you have seen this presence before, perhaps in a dream or a thought you did not finish. The feeling is gentle, distant. You breathe again. The reflection responds by remaining exactly as it is. There is no reaction, no movement independent of the rain. The figure does not mimic you. It does not blink or shift when you do. It exists on its own, calm and observant. You feel watched, not intently, not closely. The observation feels passive, like being noticed by the night itself. The sensation does not intrude. It rests lightly on your awareness, leaving you free to remain still. The room around you stays unchanged. Walls hold their quiet. The house does not react. The rain continues its steady fall, unbothered. Everything feels balanced, as though this moment fits naturally into the night's rhythm. You notice the figure more clearly now. It does not have sharp features. Its outline is softened by rain and glass. You sense no emotion from it, no intention. It feels like a reflection of something that once stood here, or will, or perhaps always does when conditions are right. You feel no need to test it. You do not raise your hand or move closer. The night has taught you patience. Some things reveal themselves only when left undisturbed. You remain calm, allowing the reflection to exist without challenge. The rain thickens briefly. With it, the reflection wavers, then steadies again. You sense that the glass is not showing a person, but a presence shaped by memory and stillness. The idea settles comfortably. You turn your head slightly. The reflection does not vanish. It remains in the corner of your vision, unhurried. This surprises you gently, like noticing a sound continue after you stop listening for it. You feel no urgency to look back. You turn away fully. Behind you, the room feels warm and familiar. You sense the window at your back, quiet and attentive. You do not look again, yet you know the reflection remains. The feeling is not threatening. It feels like being remembered rather than watched. The night seems to acknowledge your presence through the glass, offering you a moment of recognition before letting you go. You walk away slowly. Each step feels grounded, steady. The house receives your movement without sound. The rain continues its soft conversation with the window behind you. You sense the reflection linger, not following, not calling out. It remains where it belongs, on the other side of the glass, held by rain and darkness. You feel no loss in leaving it behind. Your breathing deepens. The image of the reflection softens in your mind, losing detail and weight. It becomes a feeling rather than a picture, an impression left behind by a passing moment. The night remains calm. You feel safe moving away, confident that nothing will pursue. The reflection feels content to stay, watching the rain rather than you. You settle into stillness again. The memory of the window fades into background awareness. The rain resumes its role as comfort, its sound smoothing the edges of thought. You feel a quiet certainty. Some windows reflect more than faces. Some show moments, or possibilities, or the gentle attention of the night itself. This understanding feels complete without explanation. Sleep draws closer. The reflection no longer occupies your thoughts. It has done what it came to do, leaving behind a sense of being seen without being known. The rain continues. As the rain keeps falling and the window returns to darkness, you sense that the night has other surfaces like this one, waiting patiently to reveal themselves when you are quiet enough to notice. Chapter 9. The closet that breathes with you. Rain fades into a distant rhythm. The closet air feels warmer than it should. Breathing matches yours in the dark. You close the door gently, out of respect. The rain fades into a softer rhythm now, no longer pressing against the house but lingering at a distance, like a memory that refuses to leave completely. You stand in the bedroom, surrounded by familiar shapes softened by darkness. The night feels settled, calm in a way that invites stillness rather than demands it. Your breathing is slow, even, and unguarded. Your attention drifts to the closet. It is nothing unusual at first glance, just a quiet space tucked behind a door you have passed many times. Yet tonight, it feels slightly different, as though the air around it has learned how to wait. You do not feel afraid. You feel aware, gently alert in a way that does not disturb your calm. You step closer. The rain's sound grows more distant here, as if the walls have thickened. The closet door stands closed, unremarkable, but the air around it feels warmer than the rest of the room. Not hot, not heavy, just held. You pause, listening to your own breath. The warmth remains. You place your hand near the door without touching it. The air seems to respond, shifting slightly, as though acknowledging your presence. Your breathing stays slow. You feel no urgency to open the door. The moment stretches comfortably. You listen more closely. Within the quiet, you sense another rhythm. At first, you think it is your own breath echoing back at you. The pattern is familiar, steady. Then you notice a subtle difference. The timing is not exact. The sound seems to arrive just after you inhale, just after you exhale. The closet breathes. Not loudly, not distinctly. It breathes in a way that blends with the night, soft enough to be missed if you were not already so still. You feel no fear at this realization. The breathing feels calm, unhurried, respectful of your pace. You remain where you are. The room does not change. The bed remains behind you, warm and inviting. The rain continues somewhere beyond the walls. The closet air stays warm, steady, breathing quietly. You breathe in. The breathing within the closet follows. You breathe out. It responds again, matching you more closely now. The synchronization feels gentle, like two people settling into the same rhythm without trying. You feel a quiet understanding form, unspoken and unforced. You do not open the door. There is no need. The presence does not ask to be seen. It seems content to remain where it is, sharing the simple act of breathing. The closet feels less like a space and more like a pause held in the house. Your shoulders relax. The warmth from the closet air spreads slightly, blending with the room. You sense no intention from it, no desire to move closer or farther away. It feels balanced, complete. You listen without analyzing. The breathing continues, steady and patient. It does not change when you shift your weight or tilt your head. It remains calm, unwavering. This constancy brings comfort rather than unease. The rain fades further. Outside, the night grows quieter. Inside, the breathing becomes more noticeable by contrast, though still soft. You sense that the house itself is aware of this moment, holding the space carefully. You feel respect, not fear, not obligation, but a natural courtesy, like lowering your voice in a quiet room. The closet breathes with you, not because it must, but because it can. You step back slowly. The breathing does not follow. It remains where it is, steady and contained. You feel no pull to stay closer. The distance feels appropriate. You reach for the door. Your hand moves gently, deliberately. The breathing remains calm, unchanged. When you close the closet door, you do so without sound, without hurry. The action feels ceremonial in a small, personal way. The breathing continues behind the door. You can still sense it, though fainter now. The warmth remains, held within the space. You feel no need to lock the door or move away quickly. Closing it feels like an act of respect, not avoidance. You turn away. The room feels normal again, balanced and quiet. The bed waits for you, undisturbed. The rain is now only a distant presence, barely audible. You lie down. Your body settles easily, muscles releasing without effort. Your breathing slows further, deeper and more relaxed. For a moment, you sense the closet breathing still, matching you through the door, a quiet acknowledgement. Then the awareness fades. Not abruptly, not completely, but enough to allow sleep to approach. The warmth remains in memory rather than sensation. You feel safe. The night has shown you something without asking anything in return. The closet keeps its quiet rhythm, contained and respectful. You trust it to remain so. Sleep gathers around you. Your thoughts soften, edges dissolving. The breathing you sense becomes indistinguishable from your own. The rain disappears into silence. You drift. As sleep deepens and the house grows still, you sense that there are other quiet spaces like this one. waiting patiently for the moments when you are calm enough to breathe alongside them. Chapter 10. The basement that knows your name. Rain becomes muffled beneath the house. Your name forms without sound in the darkness. You feel recognized, not welcomed. The stairs lead down anyway. The rain changes its voice as you approach the basement, becoming thicker and more distant, as though filtered through layers of earth and time. You stand at the top of the stairs, feeling the cool air rise gently to meet you. The house above feels steady and calm, but below, something else waits in a quieter register. You breathe slowly, letting your body remain relaxed as the night continues to listen. The stairs descend without urgency. Each step is solid beneath your feet, worn smooth by years of careful use. The rain sounds farther away here, pressed into a low hush that settles around the foundation. You notice how the light fades gradually rather than suddenly, giving your eyes time to adjust. The darkness does not rush you. It feels patient, aware. You pause halfway down. The air feels heavier here, not oppressive, just full. You sense that the space below has been listening for a long time, attuned to the rhythms of the house and the ground beneath it. Your breathing remains slow and even, steady enough to anchor you. Then you feel it. Your name does not echo or sound out loud. It forms without vibration, without language, appearing gently in your awareness. The sensation is unmistakable. You feel recognized in a way that bypasses hearing entirely. The feeling is neither warm nor cold. It simply exists. You do not feel welcomed. You also do not feel threatened. The recognition carries no invitation, no barrier. It feels like being noticed by something that already knew you would arrive. This awareness settles quietly beside your calm, leaving you unshaken. The stairs continue downward. You take another step, then another, allowing the moment to unfold at its own pace. The basement does not rush to reveal itself. It seems content to remain partially hidden, offering impressions rather than detail. The rain above becomes a distant memory of sound. You reach the bottom. The space opens around you, wider than you expected. The darkness feels layered, textured by the faint presence of stored air and old stillness. You sense the walls without touching them, the way one senses the boundaries of a room while half asleep. Your name lingers. It does not repeat. It does not grow louder. It simply remains like a note held softly. You feel no need to respond. The basement does not require acknowledgement. It already is what it needs. You stand quietly. The air feels cool but stable, grounded by the weight of the house above. You imagine the earth surrounding this space, holding it gently. The feeling brings calm rather than unease. You notice how the rain has nearly disappeared. Only a faint vibration remains, traveling through the structure. The basement absorbs it easily, turning sound into silence. You feel sheltered here, separated from weather and time. The recognition fades slowly. Your name dissolves back into the dark, leaving no echo behind. You are left with awareness rather than sound. The space feels unchanged by the exchange, steady and contained. You feel calm. The basement does not move toward you. It does not recede. It simply remains, knowing, patient. You sense that it recognizes everyone who enters, not personally, but by presence alone. You breathe deeply. The air responds by staying exactly the same. Nothing shifts, nothing reacts. This steadiness reassures you. The space does not depend on your attention. You turn slightly. The stairs remain behind you, solid and familiar. The way back up feels certain and easy. You are not trapped. This knowledge settles your thoughts further. You sense old memory here, not specific events, not images, but an accumulation of waiting. The basement feels like a place where moments pause, where names pass through briefly and move on. You are one of many, and that feels comforting. The darkness softens. As your eyes adjust, you notice faint shapes, outlines that suggest shelves and corners without demanding focus. The space allows you to see only what you need. You do not stay long. There is no pressure to linger. The basement has acknowledged you, and that feels complete. You turn back toward the stairs, moving slowly, respectfully. Each step upward feels lighter. The air warms slightly as you ascend. The sound of rain returns, faint at first, then clearer. The house welcomes you back into its upper spaces without comment. You reach the top. The basement door closes softly behind you, sealing the quiet below. You feel no sense of loss. The recognition remains with you only as calm understanding. You rest. As the rain resumes its steady voice above, and the basement settles back into silence, you sense that the house still remembers your name, ready to whisper it again when the night grows deep enough to listen. Chapter 11, a presence that sits beside you quietly. Rain steadies into something almost comforting. The presence arrives without movement. It does not speak or touch. You are not alone, and it feels intentional. The rain settles into a steady rhythm, no longer shifting or pressing, simply existing as a gentle sound beyond the walls. You are resting now, body supported, breath slow and deep. The night feels balanced, as though it has finished arranging itself. Nothing moves quickly. Nothing demands attention. The quiet feels earned. You notice the presence without seeing it. There is no sound to announce it, no change in light or temperature. You sense it the way you sense someone sitting nearby when your eyes are closed. The awareness arrives softly, fully formed, and calm. You do not tense. You do not turn your head. You simply continue breathing. The presence sits beside you, not close enough to touch, not far enough to feel imagined. The space between you feels respectful, intentional. You sense weight without pressure, attention without focus. The presence does not lean toward you. It does not withdraw. It simply remains. Rain continues outside. Its rhythm feels steadier now, like a heartbeat that has found its pace. The sound wraps around the room, cushioning the silence rather than filling it. You feel safe enough to remain still. The presence does not speak. There are no words, no thoughts pushed into your mind. The quiet between you remains unbroken. This silence does not feel empty. It feels shared. You sense that whatever sits beside you understands this language well. You breathe in slowly. The presence does not react, but you feel a subtle acknowledgement, like a shared pause. Your breathing remains deep and even. The room holds both of you easily. You are not alone. The realization settles without fear. It feels deliberate. It feels this limit has been chosen carefully. The presence did not arrive by accident. It came when you were calm enough not to resist it. The bed beneath you feels steady. Your body sinks slightly deeper, muscles releasing further. The presence remains unchanged, patient. It does not shift or adjust. Its stillness feels practiced, comforting. Rain softened again. Outside, the sound becomes more distant, less defined. Inside, the presence feels clearer by contrast. You sense no intention from it, no expectation. It does not want anything from you. You feel watched without being observed. There is no sense of eyes, no focus. The presence feels aware of you in the same way the night is aware of the house. Broad, gentle, unconcerned with detail. You remain still. The silence between you stretches comfortably. Time feels less structured here. Minutes pass without shape. The presence does not count them. You feel a quiet reassurance. Not because the presence offers protection, but because it does not need to. Its calm is complete on its own. Being near it feels like resting beside something that understands rest. Your thoughts drift. They slow, losing urgency and edges. The presence does not follow them. It remains anchored in stillness, unaffected by the movement of your mind. The rain continues. Its sound blends into your breathing now, indistinguishable from the rhythm inside you. The room feels warm, settled. The presence remains beside you. It does not shift closer as you relax. It does not fade away. It seems content with this exact distance, this exact moment. You feel acceptance, not directed at you personally, but toward your presence here. The feeling is quiet, neutral, and comforting. You are allowed to be exactly as you are. Your breathing deepens further. Sleep begins to gather gently, not pulling you away, but surrounding you. The presence does not resist this. It does not try to keep you awake. You sense that it has done this before, sat quietly beside others, listening to rain, sharing silence. The thought brings ease. This moment feels part of a longer pattern, calm and unbroken. The presence does not follow you into sleep. It remains where it is, steady and patient. You sense that it will stay only as long as needed, then leave without announcement. Your awareness softens. The room blurs at the edges. The presence becomes less defined, not because it moves, but because you are drifting. The calm remains. Sleep arrives quietly. As your awareness fades and the presence remains behind in the quiet, you sense that the night itself may sit even closer next time, waiting for another moment of shared stillness. Chapter 12, the night the house refuses to sleep. Rain continues, tireless and patient. The house shifts, restless and alert. Every room listens for something unseen. Sleep hovers, but does not land. Rain continues without pause, steady and tireless, as though it has decided this night will belong to sound alone. You lie awake, not restless, not tense, simply aware. The house around you feels different now, less willing to settle. Walls hold their shape, but not their stillness. The air seems to move even when nothing does. You breathe slowly. Sleep hovers close, familiar and warm, but it does not touch down. It circles gently, waiting. Your body is ready, heavy and relaxed. Yet your awareness remains softly open. The rain keeps time, patient and unchanging. The house refuses to sleep, not in defiance, not in urgency, but in quiet attention. You sense it in the way floors seem more awake, in the way corners hold their breath. The night feels alert, as if listening for something it cannot quite hear yet. A faint shift travels through the walls. It is not a sound exactly, more a sensation, like a structure adjusting its posture. You feel it pass through the room without disturbing anything. The bed remains steady beneath you. The ceiling stays silent. Every room listens. You sense this without seeing it. Bedrooms, hallways, stairwells, all holding the same quiet awareness. The house feels unified in this state, attentive and patient. Nothing feels wrong. Nothing feels rushed. Rain continues its steady conversation with the roof. The sound is comforting, but tonight it does not lead you to sleep. Instead, it keeps you gently present. Your breathing remains deep even. You feel no frustration, only curiosity softened by calm. The night stretches. Minutes lose their edges. Time feels suspended, flexible. You sense that sleep will arrive eventually, but not yet. The house seems to know this too, adjusting itself around the waiting. A subtle creak settles in the distance. Not sharp enough to startle, not loud enough to define. It feels like the house acknowledging itself, checking its own balance. You remain relaxed, listening without expectation. The rain never falters. It falls in at the same rhythm, the same patience. You imagine it soaking the ground slowly, layer by layer. The house mirrors this patience, holding awareness without tension. You feel safe. The refusal to sleep does not feel threatening. It feels intentional, as though the house has chosen to remain awake for a reason that does not require explanation. You are allowed to share this wakefulness without consequence. Your thoughts slow. They do not race or wander. They simply exist, drifting gently. The house seems to respond by staying quiet, offering no distractions. The air feels fuller, not heavier, just more present. You sense it moving through rooms, brushing walls, settling briefly, then continuing on. The house feels like it is breathing differently tonight, slower, deeper. Sleep brushes past you again. It feels close enough to touch, but it does not stay. You do not reach for it. You let it hover. The waiting feels comfortable, like listening to rain without trying to follow individual drops. Another subtle shift. This one feels farther away, perhaps from an upper floor or a closed room. You sense the house checking its spaces, ensuring everything is where it should be. The awareness feels careful, protective. You remain still. Your body does not demand rest. It is already resting. Only your awareness remains awake, calm and curious. The night feels longer. Not endless, but you sense that something unseen is moving through the quiet, not entering, not leaving, simply passing. The house listens closely, attentive without alarm. Rain softens briefly, then returns. The change is slight, almost imagined. The house responds with stillness, as if acknowledging the shift. You feel the connection between weather and walls deepen. You sense patience everywhere. In the way the house holds itself. In the way the night stretches. In the way sleep waits without insistence. This patience feels comforting, like being allowed to linger in a moment without expectation. The darkness feels gentle. Shadows do not move, but they feel present, settled. You sense no figures, no forms. Only awareness, shared across space. Your breathing deepens further. Each breath anchors you, keeps you relaxed. The house seems to notice, matching your pace in its own way. Floors remain quiet. Walls hold steady. Sleep passes by once more. It feels warmer this time, closer. Still, it does not land. You accept this without concern. The night feels complete even without sleep. The rain continues its tireless fall. You imagine it falling far beyond the house, touching other places, other nights. The house listens to it all, choosing to remain awake just a little longer. You feel a quiet understanding. This night is not meant for sleep yet. It is meant for listening, for awareness, for gentle waiting. The house and the rain have agreed on this. You remain calm. Eventually, you sense the house beginning to ease. The alertness softens, not ending, but relaxing. Sleep draws closer again, patient as ever. As the rain keeps falling and the house slowly loosens its watch, you sense that whatever held the night awake is nearly finished passing through, preparing to leave you with a deeper, quieter rest. Chapter 13, Memories Left Behind by the Dead. Rain carries images you never lived. They pass through you like cold air. You hold them briefly, gently, then the house takes them back. Rain moves differently tonight. It does not fall in sheets or patterns you can follow. It drifts, as though carrying weight that has nothing to do with water. You lie still, aware of this change without opening your eyes. The house is quiet again, no longer restless, but attentive in a deeper way. The night feels ready to share something it has been holding. The memories arrive softly. They do not announce themselves as memories at first. They come as impressions, faint and cool, like air passing over skin. You sense movement that does not belong to your body, moments that do not belong to your time. Your breathing remains slow, steady, allowing the sensation to pass through without resistance. You see without seeing. An image forms briefly behind your closed eyes, a hallway you have never walked. Light falling across a floor you do not recognize. The feeling is gentle, almost tender. There is no fear in it, only distance. Rain continues outside. Each drop seems to carry another fragment, lifting it from somewhere far away and releasing it into the house. You sense the walls receiving these fragments quietly, filtering them before they reach you. What arrives is softened, stripped of sharpness. You realize these memories are not yours. The understanding settles calmly. There is no confusion, no need to claim them. The memories feel old, but not decayed. They have been waiting, preserved by silence and rain. Another impression passes through you. A hand resting briefly on a table. A breath released at the end of a long day. The feeling lingers for a moment, then fades. You do not hold on to it. You let it move on. The air feels cooler. Not uncomfortable, just touched by something unfamiliar. The memories travel through you the way wind moves through an open room, entering and leaving without disruption. You remain relaxed, aware, present. The house listens. You sense it clearly now. The walls do not resist these memories. They accept them, hold them briefly, then guide them onward. The house feels practiced in this, as though it has done so many times before. Rain carries another fragment. This one feels heavier, slower. You sense stillness, the kind that follows a final moment. There is no pain attached, no fear, only completion. You breathe out slowly, letting the impression pass. You feel respect. Not sorrow, not reverence, but quiet acknowledgement. These memories do not ask to be remembered. They simply move, carried by rain and time, seeking release. The house takes them back. You sense this clearly as each fragment fades. The walls seem to absorb what remains, storing it gently where it belongs. The air warms again, returning to balance. You feel lighter. The passing memories do not weigh on you. They leave no residue behind. You are unchanged, yet aware that something has moved through your awareness. Rain softens. Outside, the sound becomes less distinct, as though the storm itself has finished its task. Inside, the house settles, satisfied. You rest quietly. Your thoughts remain slow and gentle. No new images arrive. The space feels calm again, complete. The night breathes evenly. You sense that the house has returned what it borrowed, closing itself around the quiet. The memories are gone, held safely somewhere you do not need to reach. Sleep draws closer. As the rain fades into silence and the house grows still again, you sense that the night will remember how gently you let the past pass through, and it may trust you with more when the darkness comes back once again. Chapter 14. When the storm reveals the truth. Rain grows heavier, deliberate. The house feels honest for the first time. You understand without explanation. Some truths do not need words. The rain grows heavier without becoming violent, each drop falling with intention instead of force. It feels measured, as though the storm has chosen this moment carefully. You lie quietly, eyes closed, breathing slow and steady, sensing the change before your thoughts catch up. The house feels different now, not restless or watchful, but clear, as if something has been gently uncovered. The sound of rain deepens. It presses against the walls and roof with a firmness that feels grounding rather than overwhelming. You sense the house responding, settling into this weight. The air feels cleaner, stripped of uncertainty. You remain calm, wrapped in warmth, aware that something important is unfolding without urgency. The house feels honest, not welcoming, not comforting, simply truthful. The sensation is subtle but unmistakable, like a room that has finally been lit after years of dusk. Nothing is hidden. Nothing is emphasized. Everything simply is. You do not search for meaning. Understanding arrives without effort, bypassing thought. You feel it settle into you the way breath settles into lungs. The storm does not speak, yet you know what it is showing you. The rain grows heavier still. Each drop feels deliberate, placed rather than falling. You sense that the storm is not cleansing or destroying. It is revealing. The sound strips away softness, leaving clarity behind. You feel no fear. The truth the storm carries is not sharp. It does not accuse or demand. It simply exists, patient and complete. You sense that you have always known this, but only now are calm enough to recognize it. The house listens differently. Walls no longer absorb sound the way they did before. Instead, they reflect it gently, as though they are no longer holding anything back. The floors feel steady, certain. The ceiling does not creak or shift. Everything feels aligned. You breathe deeply. With each breath, the understanding settles further. You realize the house was never hiding anything from you. It was waiting for stillness, for patience, for the right night. The storm continues its steady fall. Rain runs along familiar paths, tracing lines that have existed for years. You imagine it washing over memories, impressions, moments left behind. Nothing resists it. Everything accepts the sound. You understand without explanation. The house is not haunted. It is inhabited by time. The sounds, the presences, the moments you felt watched or accompanied were not warnings or threats. They were echoes of attention, remnants of listening layered into the walls. The realization feels gentle. It does not change the house. It changes the way you feel inside it. The night feels less mysterious, not because mystery's gone, but because it no longer needs to hide. The rain grows steady and full. The storm feels complete now, settled into its purpose. You sense that it will not grow stronger. It has said what it needed to say through weight and rhythm alone. You feel gratitude, not directed at the storm or the house specifically, but toward the clarity that arrives when fear dissolves. The night feels quieter inside you now, even as the rain continues outside. The house holds nothing back. You sense openness in every room, even those you cannot see. The basement feels grounded rather than knowing. The attic feels empty rather than watchful. The spaces between walls feel like silence, not breath. You rest more deeply. Your body responds immediately, sinking into comfort. Muscles release without instruction. Sleep edges closer, warmer than before. The rain begins to soften, not stopping, just easing, as though the storm has finished its work. The house responds by relaxing, exhaling gently. You remain calm. The truth revealed does not linger like a presence. It settles like understanding does, quietly and permanently. You feel safe. The night no longer feels like something to interpret. It simply exists, holding rain, holding walls, holding you. Sleep approaches naturally. As the rain slowly lightens and the house rests in its honesty, you sense that the night has one final quiet moment waiting, something softer still, ready to unfold when sleep finally claims you completely. Chapter 15, Leaving while the house still watches. Rain follows you as you step away. The house remains, patient and complete. You carry its silence with you. Some places never truly let you go. Rain follows you as you step away, not falling harder or faster, only keeping pace with your movement. You pause just beyond the threshold, feeling the night rest against your shoulders. The house stands behind you, quiet and composed, its windows dark but aware. You do not feel hurried. Leaving feels like a slow continuation rather than an ending. You take a breath. The air outside feels cooler, lighter, yet something familiar remains wrapped around you. The silence of the house stretches outward, following gently as though it does not end at the walls. You sense it settling into your awareness, calm and unbroken. The rain traces your path. Each step away from the door feels deliberate. Gravel, earth, and pavement receive your weight without comment. The house does not move. It does not call out. It simply remains where it is, watching without watching. You feel no fear. The watching does not feel possessive or curious. It feels patient, the way a place watches weather pass. You sense that the house does not measure distance. Near and far mean little to it. You walk slowly. The rain keeps its steady rhythm, soft against the ground. You feel the silence of the house moving with you, not as sound, but as presence. It rests lightly in your chest, familiar and calm. You glance back once. The house looks unchanged. Its shape is clear against the night, solid and still. No lights flicker. No shadows shift. It feels complete, as though nothing has been interrupted by your leaving. You turn forward again. The path ahead opens gently, dim and quiet. The rain outlines it softly, making edges visible without urgency. You feel grounded, aware of each step. The silence deepens. Not louder, not heavier, simply more present. You realize you are carrying it now. The house has allowed it to travel with you, a quiet imprint left behind by listening. You continue on. The rain does not fade. It remains steady, marking time without counting it. Your breathing stays slow and even, matching the rhythm you learned inside. You feel changed in a small way. Not transformed, not altered, simply adjusted. Your awareness feels wider, softer. The night feels closer, less distant than before. The house does not follow. It does not need to. Its watching feels complete without movement. You sense that it will remain exactly as it is, holding its rooms, its memories, its quiet patience. You walk farther. Distance grows, but the silence remains. It feels lighter now, blending into your thoughts, into your breathing. You realize you will recognize it again if you ever return. The rain shifts slightly. Drops grow finer, softer, like a whisper thinning into breath. The night opens around you, wide and unhurried. You feel calm. The feeling of being watched fades into being remembered. The difference feels gentle. You are no longer the focus, yet you are not forgotten. You slow your pace. Each step feels complete on its own. The path does not rush you. The night seems content to let you move at your own rhythm. The house remains behind you. You sense it settling back into itself, closing nothing, changing nothing. It watches the rain instead now, patient and quiet. You carry its silence forward. It does not weigh on you. It supports you, steady and familiar. You feel safe within it. The rain continues. It touches your shoulders, your hair, your hands. The sound feels softer now, less insistent. You sense the night beginning to relax. You feel a gentle certainty. Some places leave marks not on memory, but on stillness. You recognize this one by the way it taught you to listen. You walk on. The silence blends into the night. The rain becomes background again. Your breathing remains slow, even, unguarded. The house watches no longer, or perhaps it always does. The difference no longer matters. You feel complete, whole, unchanged yet fuller. You do not look back again. There is no need. As the rain carries you farther into the quiet and the house settles back into itself, You sense that its watching has not ended, only softened, waiting patiently for the moment when night and silence guide you home once more.